Welcome, everyone, to this explainer right here at the Mukesh Manoharan studio. I'm genuinely so glad you've tuned in today. Before we really get going, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and definitely don't forget to like and share this explainer with your friends and family. Today, we're going to walk through a profoundly moving story. It's a journey about resilience, about facing the absolute darkest moments of our lives, and honestly, about how true strength is actually built from the ground up. I really want you to pay close attention to the journey we're taking today because the lessons here, they are universally applicable to all of us.
Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to picture a really vivid scene with me. The rain is just pouring heavily outside. It's one of those dark, unrelenting storms. Inside a tiny, cramped house with a leaking roof sits 19-year-old Anyanya. She's sitting right near the window, but she isn't looking out at the rain at all. She is staring silently, intensely at her phone screen. Her exam results have just arrived. You know, for someone like Anyanya, who didn't grow up with any sort of financial safety net, an exam isn't just a test. It is the literal ticket out of poverty for her entire family. And right in that very moment, she's staring at what feels like the complete end of her world.
Failed? One word. Just 6 letters. It's such a painful, heavy word, and it felt massive enough to just instantly crush every single one of her dreams. As she looked at that screen, her hands actually started to tremble. You know that feeling when your throat tightens up in that incredibly painful way right before you break down? That was her. Tears began to slowly roll down her cheeks. Outside, the world was just continuing on normally, but inside her, everything had simply shattered. And honestly, the most heartbreaking part of all this, she quickly locked her phone and cried completely silently. She just couldn't bear to let her exhausted parents, who were sleeping in the very next room, hear her heartbreaking.
To really understand the sheer weight of this failure, we have to look at her stark reality. Her father was sleeping after a grueling night shift, and his tired hands were literally still covered in dust from the construction site. Her mother was sitting nearby, tirelessly pushing a sewing machine, stitching school uniforms just to scrape together a tiny bit of extra cash. Sometimes her parents would even skip dinner, right? They'd pretend they weren't hungry just so she could eat. Now contrast that with her friends' lives, the ones she was seeing all over social media. They were out enjoying festivals, going to movies, living these totally carefree lives and posting about their own academic success. Listen, if you've ever faced deep financial constraints yourself, you know exactly how suffocating it feels to watch the rest of the world effortlessly move forward while you are stuck fighting for basic survival. And when the news of her failure eventually spread, the world wasn't kind about it. Relatives immediately started mocking her. They'd whisper things like, "See, we told you, girls shouldn't dream too much. Now just arrange your marriage." Her confidence didn't just crack here, it completely shattered. She stopped studying, she stopped smiling entirely. She would lie awake at night, staring up at the ceiling, genuinely wondering if she just wasn't talented enough. She began to seriously question if success was a luxury reserved exclusively for lucky people, for people who were just born into the right circumstances.
But then came a moment that shifted absolutely everything. It was another rainy evening, and the electricity, as it so often did in their neighborhood, went out completely. The entire house went pitch black. Her mother calmly struck a match, lit a single candle, and quietly went right back to stitching clothes in the dim light. Anya sat quietly beside her in the shadows, still carrying that immense, heavy burden of her failure. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, her mother softly asked her a question. She said, "Do you know why candles are beautiful?"
Ananya looked totally confused. Her mother just gently smiled and delivered this profoundly powerful metaphor. She said, "Because they continue giving light even while melting." Just think about that for a second. Melting is painful, right? It's the process of being consumed, of enduring the heat. Her mother was basically telling her that life will test you, people will absolutely doubt you, and your circumstances will try to burn you down. But your inner resilience, your ability to endure through that exact pain, is exactly what creates immense personal growth. It's what creates the light. That night, something fundamentally shifted inside Ananya. For the very first time since she saw the word failed, she decided she was going to begin again.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because the very next morning, she didn't wait around for inspiration to strike. She didn't wait to magically feel confident again, because those feelings were long gone. Instead, she woke up at 5 a.m. and decided to start from absolute zero, building a rigid, incredibly disciplined routine. Number 1, study. Number 2, exercise, just to build up her mental and physical stamina. Number 3, learn new, modern skills online. She literally started teaching herself video editing from free internet tutorials. She systematically replaced her sadness with undeniable, raw discipline.
But hey, let's be real. This was not some glamorous cinematic montage. This was a silent, brutal grind.
She was trying to learn all this on a slow, horribly outdated phone. The editing apps were constantly crashing on her. Her internet connection would just randomly drop mid-upload. And when she finally did manage to post a video or design, she was getting 0 views. Maybe 10 views if she was really lucky. But I don't want you to look at these details as reasons to pity her. Absolutely not. These technological and financial hurdles were actually the essential friction she needed. They were like weights in the gym for her mind. Every single time an app crashed and she patiently reopened it, she was building an unyielding discipline and a completely unbreakable mindset.
Then came the hardest night of all. Her father came home terribly sick. The doctor told him he needed weeks of strict rest. In a family that's living paycheck to paycheck, no work means no salary, period. The family was instantly thrown into a severe crisis. Anyanya looked at her exhausted, sick father and her deeply worried mother, and she cried. But this time, she wasn't crying over some exam result. She was crying out of a desperate, immediate need to help her family survive. So she wiped her tears, opened up that slow phone, and typed 4 words into the search bar: how to earn online.
Now, what's really interesting about this number here is that it's just 100 rupees. For her first freelance gigs, we're talking designing simple posters, typing up documents, editing tiny little video clips. This is sometimes all she was paid, 100 rupees. It's a tiny, almost insignificant amount of money to a lot of people. But to Ananya, it was a massive, earth-shattering victory, because after weeks of this grueling hustle, she finally saved up enough of those 100-rupee payments to march down to the market and buy a bag of groceries for her mother.
When she handed that bag of groceries to her mother just teared up. Her father looked at her with a level of pure pride that she had never ever seen before. It was in that exact moment, standing in that tiny house with the food she bought with her own sweat and tears, that Ananya realized the absolute truth about success. Success doesn't begin when the world finally claps for you. It begins when you stop giving up. She was already successful the moment she dragged herself out of bed at 5 a.m. to try again. The money? That was just a byproduct of her refusal to quit.
From there, the momentum was just unstoppable. 1 week later, she's editing more short videos and designing even better posters. 3 months later, a small content creator actually notices her unyielding consistency and hires her to edit for his channel. This brought a steady stream of income that finally brought a sense of financial peace into her home. Fast forward 2 years later, and she's no longer just editing in the shadows. She is stepping onto a brightly lit stage, looking out at an audience of hundreds of students, ready to share her incredible story.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core message, because she stood on that stage and told them, I was not the smartest student. I failed badly. People laughed at me. But then she dropped an absolute truth bomb on them. She said successful people continue even after losing confidence. She revealed to those students how her greatest, most painful failure, that horrible word failed glaring on her screen, was actually the exact catalyst that built her greatest strength. It forced her to become completely self-reliant, disciplined, and totally unshakable.
After that triumphant speech, she went back home. Her mother was still sitting right near the sewing machine, just like she always did. But everything was different now. Ananya walked up to her, wrapped her arms around her tightly, and whispered, "Humma, we made it." Outside the window, the rain had actually started falling again, beating against the roof. But as they hugged, Ananya listened to the sound of the storm, and, for the very first time in her entire life, it didn't sound painful. It sounded deeply, profoundly beautiful.
I want to break away from the story for just a second here and speak directly to you. If you are watching this explainer right now, especially if you're a student under 20 and you are feeling absolutely crushed by your recent exam results, or if you're facing financial hardships to make you feel like you're already miles and miles behind everyone else, listen to me. Your current situation is not your final destination. A bad result cannot and will not decide your entire future. You don't need perfect, comfortable conditions to start building your life. You only need the courage to simply continue. So, the crucial point is this. Life is going to bring storms. That's a given. You will face failure, you will face financial stress, and you are definitely going to face people who doubt you. The question isn't how to avoid the storm. The question is, will you let the storm break you, or will you use it to become stronger? Will you be the candle that just melts away in the dark, or will you be the candle that uses that exact melting process to provide light for everyone around you? Thank you so much for watching this explainer here at the Mukesh Manoharan Studio. Remember to keep going, stay strong, and I'll see you in the next one.